Breaking news from the Daily Planet for all Gunn bros and stans. The Snyderverse isn't dead, it's very much alive. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends, wives, and especially your boyfriends and your husbands. A very warm welcome to Movies TV Mad and Saturday's edition of the DCU Daily. Gunn bros have been taking delight at the demise of the Snyderverse, proclaiming, thankfully, it's dead, it's gone, it's finished. But we all know it's very, very much alive. Just because your man swapped out the Snyderverse Justice League, who he only put in Peacemaker in the first place to make them look incompetent, to make his Peacemaker gang look competent. He shouldn't have even put them in there in the damn first place, and then he wouldn't have had to swap them out for the Justice Gang, which is what he did. And because of that, all of the Snyder bros were proclaiming and celebrating the death of the Snyderverse. Well, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you Snyderverse stans very, very happy. You can follow me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad, and on Instagram and on Threads at MoviesTVMadX, on Snapchat BMouth60, and on TikTok Mad Mickey's World, because in the world of Mickey, it is pretty insane. Right, we know that Mike DeLuca and Pan Adby have had a very successful year for Warner Brothers Discovery. This puts them at an advantage. This gives them, kind of carte blanche to do whatever they want. James Gunn keeps on embarrassingly being asked, what's it like having a successful Superman movie? I didn't realize he had a successful Superman movie. He claims now his movie's been a success. He can do anything he wants instead of worrying about box office, even though his movie, if it made a profit, made a slight profit, but 600 million in the bank, probably 620 million when all is said and done. So that's top of the flops at the end of the day. So I'm sorry to burst your bubbles, Gunn bros. I'm very, very sorry to burst those bubbles. But the Snyderverse isn't dead. Man of Steel, man for man, woman for woman, individually was viewed more times by people individually than James Gunn's Superman in cinemas. You can talk about box office all day, but how many tickets did that movie really sell? Not as many as Man of Steel, and not as many as Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. So I can tell you exclusively that Mike DeLuca and Pan Adby are pushing for the restoration of the Snyderverse. It's not going to be easy. Some figures at WB are, of course, resistant to this, but it's something that Mike and Pam are looking to do. Don't forget, it was Mike and Pam's idea to bring back Henry Cavill as Superman, and they were thwarted. Now, let's cast our minds back. A few months ago, before the release of Superman, Access Media, Variety, and Hollywood Reporter, The Hollywood Reporter, were reporting that Adby and DeLuca were going to be fired by David Zaslav. So what happened? Why wasn't they fired? But let's not forget the full headline. DC Studios co-CEO Peter Safran was apparently going to replace them. I'm calling bullshit on that. I wonder who at Warner Brothers leaked that out. Could it be a self-serving act by Mr. Peter Safran himself? I think so. Because, Pete, there's no way you're ever going to get that gig. Let's remind ourselves where Peter Safran came from. He had a little production company, the Safran Group, that was co-producing movies at New Line Cinema. Then New Line Cinema started to produce films like Shazam, which he was involved with. That's how he got involved with DC. Most, apart from Aquaman, And yes, the first Shazam did make a profit. Apart from those movies, every DC movie he's made has made little to no profit. It's crazy to me that the man that was involved in DCEU flops was made the co-CEO of DC Studios. But there you have it. So Gunn and Safran were looking to get Adby and DeLuca fired so they could run the whole shebang and absolutely do anything within the Warner Brothers Discovery company, and it was never going to happen. Zaslav may be dumb, but he's not that dumb. Zaslav may have little to no scripted entertainment business, but he was never, ever going to do that. Because right now, Mike DeLuca and Pam Adby are the jewel in the crown of Warner Brothers Discovery. Warner Brothers Discovery in the year of 2025 have had box office smash after box office smash. Superman and the DCU has nothing to do with them. They didn't want to do the DCU. They didn't want Gunn. They didn't want Gunn and Safran running that. They wanted other people. They tried to bring in Dan Lin, right? They tried to bring back Henry Cavill, right? So they are absolutely fighting to restore the Snyderverse. Now, before this year, that was going to be very, very difficult for them. They've just come in, they've been flops, nothing to do with them, by the way. And you've noticed that now that Pam and Mike are at the wheel, things are turning around. Yes, Warner Brothers Discovery stocks and shares are very, very low. They're still not doing well at Wall Street. But if Mike and Pam stay at Warner Brothers Discovery for the next 5 years and keep on producing hit after hit after hit like they've done this year, Warner Brothers will be back. Warner Brothers will be the biggest studio in Hollywood and the world. Mike and Pam are old school producers. They believe, like I do, if you attempt to entertain people, you will make a fucking profit. No shit, Sherlock, right? So they want to restore the Snyderverse and they wanted to bring back Henry Cavill. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble, Gunn Bros, but the death of the Snyderverse has been prematurely reported. But let's get into this a little bit more. Let's talk about this vibe on social media, especially Twitter, from the Gunn Bros. Apparently because James Gunn red-pilled Snyder's Justice League in Peacemaker Season 1 and swapped them for the Justice Gang, that means the Snyderverse is dead. The Snyderverse was nothing to do with DCU, ever. Ever, 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 ever. Gunn just decided to bring back Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller, anyway, and he couldn't, Cavill refused, Gadot refused, or was too busy to do it, so he used extras. We remember that, right? The whole thing was a fucking waste of time. Even at the time, I scratched my head and I half of me defended it, and the other half of me kind of thought, why did you do it? And as I said earlier, the reason he did it was to make the Justice League look incompetent and make the Peacemaker Gang look competent. He hates A-grade heroes. We know Gunn hates A-grade heroes, and he's proven with this Superman movie that he fucking hates Superman because, as I keep on saying, he pulled the guy's trunks down, bent him over, and fucking did him dirty, right? Maybe that's why Superman looked like he had a little bit of a fucking limp in the film. But anyway, right? Gunn doesn't like A-grade heroes. Totally the wrong guy to be involving in A-grade heroes. We know the situation at DC Studios is a mess. We know that Gods and Monsters was also always a fraud and a facade. We knew that from the very beginning. Gunn and Safran didn't have a real plan. They had to come back and summon all the entertainment media to proclaim that a lot of the projects that they announced were on the back burner because they were never ever gonna happen. Just remember, months and months ago, I did an exclusive video here at Movies TV Mad telling you that Brave and the Bold was dead at Warner Brothers Discovery and at DC Studios. It was never alive. But when Andres Muschietti was announced as the director just before, conveniently, right, just before the release of the Flash movie, I told you that was bullshit. That was never going to happen. They only did that to upscale the Flash box office, to get people excited to say, hey, this director must be amazing. Not only has he directed this Flash movie, they must like this movie so much, they're letting him do a Batman movie. Then a bunch of stupid stans who saw a half-decent stunt in the Flash movie said, look how he shoots Batman. Isn't it amazing? Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Anyone could shoot that. I could shoot that with my minimal fucking filming experience, right? Good stuntman, you know, amazing vehicle, some solid choreography. Oh, piss off. So Andres Muschietti was never ever going to direct this Batman movie, because this Batman movie doesn't exist. Now, if you believe James Gunn and Access Media, this film's kind of in development. A secret writer is writing it. But right now, you know, this film is not in the real world. So who knows what their plans are? The truth is, maybe they don't have any fucking plans, because the reality is this Superman film didn't work out the way they wanted it to. And the reality is that this film may not have even made the box office they claim that it did. Mick, they could never lie. No. Entertainment. You know, Hollywood would never lie to us, right? Hollywood have never lied to us before. Well, I think we know that's not true. I had a good laugh yesterday seeing that Disney are desperate for Gen Z males. Hey Disney, how about this? Go back to doing what made you billions of dollars many years ago. Movies and TV shows for kids and families, you fucking incompetent schmucks. It's Iger who did this. Iger got too thirsty and too hungry to make Disney into the biggest studio in the world. So he bought Lucasfilm. He bought Marvel Studios. Two things that would be aimed at kids and families that in the end haven't been aimed at kids and families. The best thing he did was buying Pixar. But as soon as they fired John Lasseter for hugging too hard, and I tell you what, that was outrageous, firing him, the pioneer and inventor of Pixar Studios, they haven't made a great Pixar movie yet. But anyway, back on point. So, Gunn Bros. The Snyderverse isn't dead. But what is the Snyderverse? It's Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. I know people keep on saying that the Snyder Cut is in some kind of universe of its own. I don't understand, right? Basically, Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut are in the same universe. Even Snyder's did. Now, those three movies are in their own universe, right? But it's a very interesting situation. Because wouldn't you say that the 2016 Suicide Squad movie is part of the Snyderverse? It was part of that plan that Zack was putting together. Steppenwolf was originally going to be in that movie. And Wonder Woman 2017, surely, is part of the Snyderverse. Snyder was there, co-directing the movie with Patty Jenkins. Because as we know from Wonder Woman 84, she is not capable of directing fucking traffic. So, this is the revelation I'm giving you today. The Snyderverse isn't dead. And Mike DeLuca and Pam Adby are really trying to convince David Zaslav to restore the Snyderverse. Now, I also told you several months ago, or weeks ago, or whenever it was, I've lost track of time. But I did tell you that David Zaslav wasn't opposed to this either. Let's get one thing clear. I'm a big Zack Snyder admirer. I love his DC movies. I'm not a cultist or anything like that. I'm a varied DC admirer. I love DC. I love films. I love television. So it's not just about being here for Zack Snyder. But a very wrong thing was done to that man and his films. And it was done by people like Kevin Feige, putting bots, toxic bots, nitpicking about the man's movies. A lot of things were done via Access Media as well. And Feige, Disney and Marvel Studios were behind that. Because, as I keep on saying, anyone who says Zack Snyder sucks, anyone who says he's a bad director, don't know cameras, don't know celluloid, don't know writing and storytelling. Zack Snyder took DC and made it his own. James Gunn has taken DC, and I don't know what to fucking tell you.